So to ask me to personally attack Nanos, he doesn't need me attacking him. He's stepped in it all on his own.
Hey everybody, it's Jakson Buhaj with TMZ. Today I'm joined by Nancy Grace to talk about the ongoing Nancy Guthrie case. Miss Grace, thank you so much for joining me. Today marks 2 months since the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, and I'm wondering, being such an avid speaker and host regarding this case, I'm wondering what your thoughts are.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm very concerned that individuals that have never been involved in law enforcement are referring to this as a cold case. It took nearly 50 days to name Brian Kohberger as the killer in the quadruple murder in Idaho. And that was with an immediate police response, with police immediately understanding what had happened. That was also with the benefit of an ID on a vehicle, DNA at the scene that was identifiable through genetic genealogy, and much more. Within days, police were looking for a white Elantra in that case. We don't have those advantages in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Therefore, when people refer to this as a cold case, they simply do not understand that investigations take time. This is in no way a cold case. As we speak, sir, FBI analysts are digging through, wading through thousands of data points such as the many visual images from door cams, from traffic lights. They are wading through cell phones that went into the area and out of the area where Nancy Guthrie lived, and much more. They're digging for that backpack. They're digging for information about the gun. It goes on and on. This case is anything but cold.
We actually spoke to the former deputy chief of the Pima County Sheriff's Office who knew Sheriff Nanos for over 40 years. And he spoke to the effect that his ego, Nanos' ego, could actually be the primary reason as to why this case has not been solved. He wanted the limelight. He didn't want the FBI to get involved. He wanted this investigation to be the Pima County Sheriff's Department's investigation alone. Have you heard anything about Sheriff Nanos and his, how he's conducted this case? Excuse me.
I understand that you're asking me, have I heard anything about Sheriff Nanos? Of course I've heard about Sheriff Nanos. You'd have to be living in a cave on the other side of the world, under a rock. Everyone's heard about Nanos, but frankly, sir, throwing stones at Nanos, who obviously is in over his head, is not advancing this investigation. So to ask me to personally attack Nanos, he doesn't need me attacking him. He's stepped in it all on his own. All I care about now is finding Mrs. Guthrie. I do not care about local politics or crucifying Nanos. He'll be out of office soon enough without my help. So I advise that we focus on the facts and what can be done to find Mrs. Guthrie.
Well, I think it's a relevant speaking point considering how they did conduct this case. There were gloves from detectives left at the scene, which actually pushed the possibility that we could find Nancy Guthrie back quite a bit. And if it was handed over to the FBI sooner, one could make the argument that there would be a higher rate of possibility that we found Nancy Guthrie. So I disagree. I do think it's a relevant talking point.
Well, obviously, your question that you're stating now doesn't match with your last question. You asked me to comment on Nanos' ego. Now you're asking me about major missteps in this investigation. Those are two very different things. His ego has nothing to do with major fails in this investigation. The first major fail was to not bring in the feds. The second major fail was to limit the circumference of the investigation to 2 miles, when neighbors 2.2 miles had very probative video of cars flying by, aiming at Nancy Guthrie Street at exactly the time her pacemaker disconnected to her Bluetooth. Now, that is a major fail. And had the feds been brought in earlier, that may not have happened. Sir, I have investigated literally countless homicides and missing people cases, much less other felonies. The fact that Nanos fought the feds' intervention may have been the single worst blow to this case. What that has to do with his ego doesn't matter now. Going forward, the feds are in charge of this investigation, and I thank heaven for that.
So it's clear that you've studied this case evidently along with many others. And I'm wondering at this point in the investigation, like I said, nearly 2 months since her initial disappearance, judging by the people that you've spoken to, are there any gaps that the FBI could currently be filling to broaden the possibility that we find Nancy Guthrie?
You stated it's nearly 2 months. It's 60 days exactly from the day that Nancy Guthrie disappeared out of her own home. And you're right, there are many, well, you call them gaps in the investigation the feds can fill in. I guess that's an accurate way of looking at it. Specifically, I truly believe that digital forensics, along with a leak, will solve the case. We keep wanting immediate results, and I understand. I want immediate results too. I want to find Nancy Guthrie. I want the truth. But there were over 10,000 videos that the feds were swimming through, much less all the data points such as cell phones in and out of the area, traffic cams, door cams, you name it. They're even looking at whose Wi-Fi touched on home Wi-Fi connections. Think about it when you go to an airport, when you go anywhere, your cell phone tries to connect. That's a data point. They're looking at what nav system in a car, what Uconnect system in a car, what iPad that wasn't turned off, what cell phone was trying to connect to Wi-Fi sources in the neighborhood. They've got so much to do. The feds are equipped to do that. I've been both a fed and a felony prosecutor in state court. The feds have resources far beyond what any local PD has. No offense to them. The feds just have more resources. They are reining in Google, Apple, for anything they can get. It was a miracle they got the video of the porch guy. Out of all the trillions of data points out there, Google managed to pull that off. I suspect we'll see more. That's only through the power of the federal government.
Miss Grace, you've been absolutely fantastic. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.